We all get upset from time to time. What do you do when this happens? One of the first things many of us think to do is to go to our partner, hoping they'll help us feel better. It's great when they do, but sometimes they can't or won't ease our mood. Then what? Too often, when we feel our partner hasn't done enough to assist our recovery, we put pressure on them. If they would just say or act in the way we want them to, then we'd be fine. Or so our logic goes. But what if I told you that expecting someone else to make us feel better is the wrong strategy? Hi, I'm Michael Clark with the Ananias Foundation. And in this video, we're going to talk about self-soothing. It turns out self-soothing is far more effective and dependable way of managing our emotions when compared to handing that responsibility to someone else.
If you want to stop causing harm in your relationships, you're on the right path. This is Journey of Change, a video series to help you become the safe, loving partner you were meant to be.
None of us likes feeling upset. It's natural that we would like to get rid of those negative emotions. How we accomplish that, however, can make a big difference on how likely we are to actually feel better and whether we damage our relationships in the process. One strategy we can use is to ask our partners to help us get through our funk or solve our problems. That's okay, unless we expect them to. If we blame them for how we feel or guilt them into doing something different or more so we feel better, then we've switched from asking for help to expecting them to help. That difference is going to feel hurtful and controlling to our partner and is likely to drive a wedge between us and them. The alternative is self-soothing. And while self-soothing is an essential life skill, learning self-soothing is especially important for those of us trying to stop behavior that harms our partners. Pressuring, guilting, manipulating, or getting angry at others when they don't adequately console us is really damaging to our relationships. Maybe you're thinking, wait, shouldn't my loved one be there for me? Isn't that the deal when we enter into a relationship? Of course, that's a big reason why we have our partners in our lives. And hopefully, we would do the same for them when they need someone to talk to. But we cannot expect our partners or friends to be there every single time. That's just not realistic. Sometimes they're the ones who upset us in the first place. Other times, they're too tired, stressed, or sad to help us. What's more, we're putting unrealistic expectations on them. How are they going to know exactly what we need? It might help to switch places to see the problem more clearly. What does it feel like to have someone constantly hand you the responsibility to reassure their fears and bolster their mood? It's exhausting. For example, if your roommate asks you to help with their laundry, maybe you'd gladly lend a hand. But if they ask you to wash their clothes again and again, at some point you're going to expect them to do it themselves. When we constantly expect our partners to manage our emotions, we risk creating resentment, stress, fear, and ultimately having them check out of the relationship. I want to acknowledge soothing ourselves is a skill many of us never learned. We weren't taught it at home, and we certainly didn't learn it in school. Instead, we've relied on others, and now it's become our habitual response to feeling bad. Our mind finds it far easier to ask loved ones to do the emotional labor of cheering us rather than doing it ourselves. Self-soothing, however, makes more sense. Knowing that we can rely on ourselves in moments of distress is empowering. No more disappointment. No more driving our loved ones away with piles of emotional dirty laundry. And it's a skill that can be learned with the right practice. The deeper truth about our emotional soothing is that often others can't do it for us. Many of us who cause harm in our relationships are actually trying to get our loved ones to change negative beliefs we have about ourselves. It's as if we are saying to them, make me feel loved, make me feel important, make me feel cared about, make me feel safe. We're looking for proof that we're important, valuable, and lovable. However, those aspects of our identity are questions only we can answer for ourselves. Even when others sincerely try to reassure us and make us believe those positive things about ourselves, our insecurities will prevent us from believing them. So, how can we get better at self-soothing? The first step is to identify times when we're trying to hand off that responsibility to others. Some of us explicitly ask our loved ones for support. We might say, I'm really anxious right now and I need you to calm me down. More often, however, we act out as if we shouldn't need to ask. We might pout, slam doors, or snap at someone, and this is an unhealthy and indirect way that we might be crying out for help with our own emotional turmoil. Once we've spotted ways in which we're making our partner responsible for reassuring us, then we need to apply some self-soothing techniques. There really are many to choose from, and what works for one person might not work for another. Try a few and have the ones that work well for you available in your toolbox and ready to use when you need them. The first one I want to highlight is to breathe. It's hard to believe that something so simple could be so effective, but focusing on your breath can be a great self-soothing technique. Neuroscientists tell us that when we're in thinking mode, we can pile on resentment or shame from the past, or we worry about the future. Most of our uncomfortable, painful emotions occur in thinking mode. The solution then is to shift out of thinking mode and into observing mode, a focus on the present moment. Turning our attention onto our breath takes us into observing mode. Those painful emotions drain away when we let go of the thoughts that are causing them. You might want to try a guided meditation or mindfulness exercise to practice this technique. The second self-soothing suggestion I have is to do something physical. Like the breathing exercise, physical activity and physical sensations have a similar effect of drawing us back to the present moment. Here are some examples you might want to consider. Patting or cuddling with a pet, taking a walk outside, curling up in bed, perhaps with a stuffed toy, doing something tactile like woodworking, gardening, or knitting, and noticing the feel of the wood, the soil, or the yarn. Holding a precious object like a locket, prayer cross, or crystal, and noticing how it looks and feels. Note that all these activities involve our body and the sensations we feel through it. A third technique is to say positive affirmations. Affirmations are a great tool for self-soothing and changing the voice that's inside of our head and what it's saying about us. One common affirmation exercise is where you write down your negative beliefs, then replace them with more positive alternatives. Then read the positive affirmations once, twice, or even several times a day for weeks, months, or even years. A variation of this is to write out calming words and phrases that feel meaningful to you. Then read those out loud when you need to comfort yourself. Here are some examples. I am resilient. I'll find a way through this. My thoughts and emotions are not me. They're not permanent and they don't define me. I will focus on today one thing at a time. Everything is as it should be. I give myself permission to take a break. Toxic and negative thoughts are unhelpful. I'm letting go of them. Challenges are part of the journey. I am loved and worthy of love. A fourth technique is to write. Grab a notebook and just write whatever pops into your head. Pour out all those things that are making you anxious or angry. Once you're done writing, or your hand is cramped up, whichever comes first, close the book. This is especially useful when those negative thoughts attack in the middle of the night. We're not getting rid of them, but we're just putting them somewhere safe until we feel ready to tackle them. Often, when we see them again in the light of day, they're not as bad or scary as they seemed. To take this technique farther, try to see if the thoughts you're experiencing are distorted or untrue in some way. Then challenge those distorted thoughts. Put each thought on trial. Argue with it, like two opposing lawyers in a courtroom. How are you seeing the situation? Is that accurate? What else might be going on? How might someone else see it? This works for small stuff like, I'm annoyed that nobody thanked me for dinner, and big self-doubts like, I'm not good enough. Number 5 on the list of self-soothing techniques is to give yourself compassion. Whether you're upset about something that has happened to you or berating yourself for something you've done, try imagining what you would tell yourself if you were a child. Or imagine what your best friend would tell you. How would they comfort you and help you see the way forward? You can be that mentor or friend to yourself. By using this technique, we can learn to speak to ourselves with grace and compassion. There's always a way forward. Treat yourself with kindness, even and especially when you've messed up. Finally, consider connecting with God. Whether we're feeling upset or overwhelmed, God offers those who seek a relationship with Him comfort. One way we can receive His help is by reading the Bible. It contains His wisdom and guidance that helps us figure out tough situations and see things differently from His perspective. Reading Scripture can remind us of how He sees us as His beloved son or daughter. Moreover, it contains His promises to provide and protect those who trust Him. Unlike our earthly friends and family, God never gets tired of hearing from us or never gets tired of helping us. Those who have developed a relationship with Him can pray and receive a peace that is difficult to explain or understand. Give thanks for what you've been given and are grateful for. Then listen to what He has to say to you. All these techniques will take time and practice to start working. That's because we're trying to replace deeply rooted behaviors and thought patterns in our brains with new, healthier ones. Over time, our self-soothing habit gets easier, and we don't need to rely on our loved ones to make us feel better every time. I'm Michael Clark with the Ananias Foundation, and I hope you found this discussion about self-soothing to be helpful. Take care, and I'll see you in another video.
Thanks for joining me today. I'm honored to be on this journey of change with you, and I hope I've helped you in some way. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. We'd love to hear from you. Also, be sure to hit the like button, share this with others who might find it helpful, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our future videos. For more resources, head to our website, ananiasfoundation.org. Until next time, take care and remember, change is possible.